Lesson 2, we are going to be looking at what causes earthquakes and volcanoes. So just so you know, your worksheet is going to look like this, and we're just going to go through the first part today, and then the back side will go in for tomorrow. So make sure that you've got your worksheet out and that you're opened up to page 266 as we complete our notes as we go through our reading. So as we go through, you all know this and you'll never ever notice it, but the earth, the crust that we stand on, is moving all the time. And parts of the earth's crust slowly move into, under, or away from each other. So that's something we don't feel unless there is something like an earthquake, and then you can feel it, but otherwise there's no way that you would feel that. So the lithosphere, which yesterday we talked about, is the crust and the mantle, covers all of the earth like a thin shell. But it is not a solid sheet of material. It is broken up into several large sections and many smaller ones. A section of the lithosphere is called a plate. So just looking at the beginning of our notes, a plate is a section of the lithosphere. Several plates are larger than continents. A plate may include continents, part of the ocean floor, or both. So a plate may include continents, parts of the ocean floor, or both. And we saw right away that the Earth's plates are always moving. Earth's plates are slowly moving. As the plates move, they might move into each other, pull apart from each other, or grind past each other. Their movement is small, sometimes less than a centimeter per year. So if you're looking at a centimeter, that is, a tiny, tiny, tiny amount per year. And if you think about like a whole continent size, that's even a smaller amount. But it can sometimes be as much as 24 centimeters per year. Even so, these movements can cause big changes to Earth's surface. Some changes occur slowly, others over very long periods of time. These changes include mountains being built and valleys being formed. Some changes happen quickly during earthquakes. Generally, earthquakes strike, mountains form, and volcanoes erupt in certain places. They are where plates meet. So plates move. Plates are constantly moving, but they move because of earthquakes and volcanoes. I'm so sorry. So fifth grade, not earthquakes and volcanoes. I was missing the second half of this section. I apologize. So why do plates move? And this will answer our question right here. When the plates move, it causes earthquakes and volcanoes and mountains to form, but it forms or it moves because that gravity pulls down on the plate and because of convection currents. So, sorry, cross this out. So it's because of gravity and convection currents. I was reading the question wrong, or reading the notes wrong. So gravity and convection currents. and that's what causes the plates underneath us to move. We saw that there's convection currents in the mantle, and then we know that gravity affects the earth. I'm going to go to our next section of plate boundaries. So the edges of plates are called plate boundaries. And just writing that down, plate boundaries. There are three major kinds of plate boundaries, and we'll look at all of those saying this is going to be really important for your worksheet going through these different kinds of boundaries. So plates meet each other at these boundaries. There are three major kinds of plate boundaries. And the three different kinds are a converging boundary, a spreading plate boundary, and a sliding plate boundary. And you see that right away. It's already given on your notes of what they are. And we're going to just write down a couple points for each of them. So at a converging boundary, two plates collide. And I want to write that down, that it's plates colliding. So two plates collide. So think of this as like a car crash, going into each other, colliding and going into each other. So mountains are made when the crust folds, tilts, and lifts as the plates meet. And this is something that new mountains can be, like all the mountains we do have weren't necessarily made that way, but new mountains or hills can happen when plates collide. It can cause an upward in the earth, so it kind of put together, when they come together, they create a mountain. And that's all we're going to write down for a converging boundary. A spreading plate boundary may form when plates move apart from each other. So you see that word spreading, it's plates moving apart. So plates are moving apart from each other, and we're going to continue reading. So one spreading plate boundary is under the Atlantic Ocean, which we know is on our east coast. At the edges of the plates, the ocean floor appears like a mountain range. It is also known as the Mid-Atlantic Range. The low area between the plates is a rift valley. So as the plates continue to spread, the ocean is slowly becoming wider. So this is where it would have the mountain, but then the more and more they separate, then it just gets further and further apart, and the mountains almost become shorter, and a lot more space goes in between them. And that's something as they're going further apart. At a sliding plate boundary, two plates move past each other in opposite directions. So think about this as one's going this way, the other is going this way. But instead of missing each other, they actually just go right past each other. So, sorry, I'm trying to get you a good view. So just be, they're going to touch each other as they go by each other instead of just going really smoothly. So for today, this is all you have. I just want to go through these three different types of boundaries. Tomorrow we are going to be looking at why these plates and boundaries are so important to what causes earthquakes and volcanoes. So for right now, I want you to just put your notes in your book, and we will go from there tomorrow.